Well, hello there, beautiful people. It's Scent Gourmand, Trina. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share with you a haul that I received in the mail recently. I couldn't help myself though, I've already unboxed everything, thoroughly delved in, but I can't wait to tell you what I got, so let's dive in. First, I got 4 editions of Sniff magazine. This guy here. Actually, I only have 3 in my hand, but I did buy 4. You can get this journal or magazine at Lucky Scent, based in California, and I think also Tiger Lily sells them, and if you're in Europe, you can probably go straight to the publisher. I bought mine from Lucky Scent simply because they sell and ship internationally. Now, nez is nose in French, and Sniff magazine, in my opinion, is basically the olfactory magazine for perfume enthusiasts. There are now a total of 16 volumes, and I think I have almost all of them. Yes, I'm missing number 5 because it's sold out, and number 1 and number 2 were in French, so I didn't buy them, but I do read a little French, so perhaps I should consider getting those if they're still available. Each issue of the magazine tends to address a specific theme, but they also include regular articles on new releases, ingredients, interviews, scientific information, etc. Yeah, if you want to know more about smells, fragrances, and all the surrounding art, culture, and industry, this magazine, I believe, is worth your time. I believe they currently cost about $38 US each. Excitingly, collaborative perfume projects between artists and perfumers, who are also a type of artist, are also featured in many issues, and you can purchase the fruit of their efforts online. But I think they sell out fast, so once they're gone, they're gone. I bought 2 of them in this haul. I would have purchased more if they hadn't disappeared already. The first one is from issue 14, and it's a collaboration between perfumer Fabrice Pellegrin and a chef, Akram Benali, and it's called Adorin. Yes. Now sure, chefs can be considered artists, as can architects and a variety of designers and decorators, in addition to the usual traditional musicians and visual artists. Anyway, this first one is called, as I said, Adorin, and the second is called Amorescence. I'll open this one up too. Yeah, so they come in these little boxes. Yeah, so the first is Adorum, that's the chef collaboration, and the second is Amorescence, which is also, I guess, a love theme. Yeah, Adorum and Amorescence sounds very lovely, love. And this one's a collaboration between perfumer Nicolas Beaulieu and artist Jean Vesserial. So what do these smell like? Fantastic, in short. I hope to give you a more detailed review in a future video. I hope I don't use them up before then. But for now, maybe a couple of words. I haven't really read up on them yet, although they are in the magazine. So I hope I'm not too far off. Okay, so Adorum, let's spray this. Oh, yeah. So Adorum has definitely got a large dose of incense. It's really smoky in the best possible way. It's also a little weird, but yeah, also in a good way. And if I'm not mistaken, there's chocolate in here of the milky, sweet variety. It's a weird combination. Incense, smoky, really tarry, smoky incense, and a really warm, like you're next to a chocolate factory type of chocolate. It's yummy. Can't wait to wear this. Anyway, I'll talk about it more later. Okay, Amorescence, on the other hand, is not sweet, but it's stunning in its own way. Let's spray this one too. Oh, yeah. So this is unmistakably sandalwood. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Okay, so those were the main components of my haul, but there are extras which I'll get to in a second. But first, I just want to take a moment to rant. I got 4 magazines and 2 30 ml bottles of perfume. Sure, fancy publications and fragrances, but holy catfish, Batman, that was expensive. The Japanese yen is still weak AF. Shipping can add oodles more to the bill, and I'm on a teacher's salary in Japanese yen. Ugh. How many of you guys are also feeling a huge pinch on your perfume spending, or on any superfluous want more than need spending for that matter? Fragrance is something I'm passionate about, so I'll never cut it out completely. But sheesh, thank heavens for the online resale market. That's all I can say. And I've always been an advocate for that to begin with, but now more than ever. Okay, rant over. So the whole lovely thing about Lucky Scent is that the more you buy, the more trial decant samples they're willing to send your way. I have tons of them now. In this recent haul, I went out of my way to ask after a Swedish brand called Stora Skuggan, which is a relatively new fragrance house, which opened its doors, I think, in 2015. They currently have only 7 fragrances total, and Lucky Scent delivered 5 of them to my door. Well, 5 samples, I should say. I'm grateful for that, but I'm not a fan of their sample packaging, not to whinge. The sample size is really minuscule compared to other providers. There's just a 1 ml vial here. They're hard to open and there's no sprayer. I suppose if it had a sprayer, the sample would be gone with 1 spritz, but I guess it's enough to give people a first impression. It's been a while since I've done a sniff with me video where I simply sniff samples and give you my initial impressions, so let's do that now, shall we? So all Stockholm-based Stora Skuggan fragrances were made in collaboration with perfumers Ulla Hemmendorf, Thomas Hempel, and Anna Barkne. The reason this brand caught my eye is the crazy and fun bottles. I admit it, a similar concept to Nasumoto, but with disproportionately large round balls atop the boxy bottles. So fun looking. Another thing I really like about the brand is the stories behind each of the fragrances. They're so well thought out. But I've only read a couple of them, in fact, as of right now, and I think what I might do is narrate a bit of their background stories later during editing of this video. I'll take my time sniffing so I can leave room to insert them. And then I'll put the notes up on screen at some point. Here we go. Okay, let's start with Silphium, a spicy amber fragrance targeting the ladies, launched in 2017. It was created by Ulla Hemmendorf and Thomas Hempel. Okay, let's open this sucker. Hard to open.
Silphium was a plant that grew in present-day Libya and was widely renowned as a spice, medicinal herb, and perfume ingredient in classical antiquity. Apparently, it was praised by Greek philosophers and writers, as well as Roman emperors and cookbook authors. It became more popular than both saffron and cinnamon, but sadly could not be cultivated. It was harvested to extinction. Stora Skuggan's rendition of the plant was created by researching surviving assumed relatives of Silphium, using aroma chemicals to create an accord that might represent historical descriptions.
This is very outdoorsy. I feel like I'm walking through a meadow with tall golden grasses ready for harvest. And that surprisingly doesn't affect my allergies. I'm getting black pepper and some spices. Geranium? It's very green and cheerful. I like this. I like the base notes. That dry meadow leads right to a country church, and there's some incense pouring out of it. I guess you could say it leans masculine. There are spices in here, and I think maybe lavender. This would make for an excellent office scent. But there are negatives for me. I think it's a tad medicinal and soapy. Yeah, soapy. I don't care for soapiness in fragrance. I'm also not into ginger personally, which, if it's here, it's not very faint. I mean, if it's here, it is faint. But it's not prominent, thankfully. Okay, next we have Azalai, a unisex spicy amber fragrance launched in 2022. The nose is Ulla Hemmendorf, and I'll put the notes up at some point. Let's sniff this. Oh, yeah.
This fragrance was inspired by a caravan route called the Azalai that passed through the Tenere region of the Saharan Desert, where camel trains have transported salt and gold for 1,000 years. Along the route stood one single acacia tree, the tree of Tenere, the last surviving plant from a time when the desert was more fertile than now, and it served as a landmark. The Tuareg caravan riders held the tree and its amazing fortitude in the highest regard, avoiding breaking its branches for firewood or letting camels eat the leaves. However, a drunk driver fell asleep and crashed into the poor thing in 1973 and killed it.
Okay, this scent is pretty much love at first sniff for me. It's radiant, warm, spicy. It's a beautiful blood orange and amber. Feels like sweetened dried fruit. It's bright, and there might be saffron in here, I don't know. There's something a smidge camphorous in here. I don't know, it could be eucalyptus or mint. Now, I wouldn't say this is particularly original, but this is the type of like Christmassy composition that personally I enjoy very much. If the performance is good, I think this is something that is potentially full body worthy, depending on your preferences. Yeah, it's nice. Okay, fragrance number 3 is Mist Poofer, launched in 2019 as a woody unisex scent. The nose behind the fragrance is Thomas Hempel. Let's give it a sniff. Cute name.
A mist poofer is actually an unexplained natural sound, a sonic boom like distant cannon fire that's heard in waterfront communities. Apparently it comes out of the fog over large lakes or rivers and has been recorded worldwide throughout history. Unsurprisingly, there's lots of legends associated with it. In Japan, the phenomenon is called uminari, meaning cries from the sea. Machimudis State Park in Connecticut gets its name from the Native American name for the area, which means place of bad noises. The Iroquois believed the booms were the sound of the Great Spirit, continuing his work of shaping the earth. Possible explanations include solar winds resonating in the atmosphere, underground earthquakes, or gas bubbles being released from the deep. And of course, you get the extraterrestrial or subsurface civilization believers with their own theories.
Okay, this one is really hard to get a grip on. Not that any fragrance is tangible, it's just hard to describe this. It starts off fresh, but then gets a bit smoky and sweet. There's definitely like a pine smell, a little bit medicinal. Maybe black tar or rubber. I imagine myself outdoors again. There's a weird savoriness to the scent too, like Japanese umami. There must be something aquatic here too, which I'm not usually a fan of, but in here it's okay. This one is kind of creepy. It's very damp and wet, but it's very artistic. I imagine I've entered Kappa territory in Japan and had better watch my back in case one of those Japanese creatures sneaks out and drags me beneath the waters. Yes, waters. It smells metallic, smoky, green, a little bit medicinal, herbally, and very edible. This is really unique. Okay, fragrance number 4 is Thumbsucker, a sweet and nutty unisex fragrance launched in 2020. The perfumer is Ule Hemmeldorf.
The fragrance started out with the idea of creating a comforting and hedonistic cloud to soothe the pain of the morning after the night before, a hangover. It's a hangover scent. The Stora Skuggan team also drew inspiration from the myth of Yuvanasawa and Mandhata. The ancient king Yuvanasawa had everything he wanted except children, so he got the holy sage Brigi to prepare a magic potion. In praying for a positive outcome, the king worshipped for 3 days straight and became very thirsty. He looked around for something to drink and ended up drinking the magic potion prepared by the sage. The bummer is that the potion was intended for his wife. So what happened? Well, the king got pregnant. Luckily for Yuvanasawa, he was regarded highly by holy powers and the gods themselves, including Indra, king of the gods. They cut his thigh to deliver the baby boy, Mandhata, and Indra slit his thumb to breastfeed or thumb feed the child. Mandhata would go on to conquer the earth, and that's why babies, being born with the memory of their divine ancestors, still suck their thumbs.
Okay, I really love the bottle of this particular one the best. I also like the name Thumbsucker, and this fragrance is not that exotic. It's very familiar smelling. It's kind of reminding me of a sort of cosmetic scent. It's very soft and powdery. I think I smell honey and beeswax, maybe violet. It leans more feminine to me because it's kind of like a gentle cuddle. It's very pleasant. Okay, last we have Hexensalbe, an aromatic, spicy fragrance that launched in 2023. The perfumer is Anna Barkna. Oh, okay, Hexensalbe, here we go. This one is really enticing. There's something rooty and edible, herbal, very herbal, sweet, herbalicious. There's a yummy white floral for the most part in the center. Don't know what it is. Could be tuberose or jasmine. And there's something really herbal. It's very familiar, very edible. Ah, it's licorice. I love that stuff. Yeah, and this is not the salted variety. This is like the gummy sweet stuff, you know? Not for everyone, I realize. And all the herbs in here, they're all kind of like of the kitchen variety. Oh, I love this. This is a potion for me. Like hex is like a spell. So it's put a spell on me. Oh yes, that's full bottle worthy for me for sure. It's dark and sexy and yeah. And for this one, I know that Stora Skuggan's website is currently promoting it because it's the most recent fragrance. And I'm going to do something that's potentially a faux pas on the YouTube spectrum of things. I'm going to take their video and share it with you here. I hope I don't get demonetized. Here you go.
So, it was this ointment, Hexensalbe, that allowed the witches to fly. Very poisonous, you see. A lot of occult scholars have died trying to recreate it. Carl Kiesewetter, for one, the fool. Of course not. But they did anyway. You see, the ointment gave such fantastical hallucinations. You know, flying, soaring over the landscape, meeting the devil and fornicating with him and other beasts. Hexensalbe was the gateway to this dream world. Very real for some. No, the broomsticks were there, just not in the way people think now. You see, the ointment was much too poisonous to swallow, so you rub it in on warm, intimate places of the body. Hairy places. Yes, indeed. And these vivid, lucid dreams about sex, the ointment supposedly made you very excited. So it was common to apply it to a phallic object, like the end of a broomstick. So you see, witches did ride on broomsticks. They really rode them.
And I have another quote for you here that I want to share. Given which aspects of the story of Hexensalbe have survived into the modern image of witches and which have been suppressed, it would seem that the one thing more terrifying than witches or devils is female sexuality. How true. Now, there are 2 more perfumes in the Stora Skuggan collection at this time. Now that I've gotten my nose on 5 of them, I'm curious to try the other 2, which are Fantôme de Mal, a spicy, woody, and aromatic fragrance. This is apparently the first of the brand, launched in 2015, and by perfumer Thomas Hempel. And second is Moon Milk. And I remember the release of this one either on Fragrantica or perhaps here on YouTube, where someone was giving it a lot of love. So this one is a spicy concoction as well by Thomas Hempel. Okay, so of the 5 I just tested here, to be honest, I really like all of them. If I had to rank them though, I'd probably put Siphium last, probably because of the ginger, which is, there's not a lot of it, but I'm not a fan of that root. For eating, yes, but not in my sniffies, people. What can I say? In 4th place, I'd put Thumbsucker. It's a great story and a great bottle, but to be honest, this one is really not a me scent. I like the bottle though, as I said, best. Maybe Siphium's bottle is second too. And Azale is wonderful and highly wearable and juicy, I think. And it's my style of perfumery, but it's not as interesting as the 2 that I place at the top. Mist Poofer is second. I love the name in addition to the very haunting smell. And the winner for me is Hexen Sable. You probably guessed that. It smells weird and different, yet very alluring. And because horny witches. But yeah, including Siphium, I would welcome any of these fragrances in full bottle form into my collection. I'm really curious to know how they wear, how they dry down, if they morph with time, and what their performance is like. Have you ever tried any fragrances from this quirky Swedish house? If so, what are your thoughts? Please comment below. And again, these 2 collaborations I shared earlier, freaking amazing. Can't wait to give you a more detailed review. I'll talk to you in the next one then, fellow fume heads. Scent Gourmand, signing out. Mwah. Bye.